What's up? This is Jonathan Smith, your host here at Shooting the Schmidt. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune into this episode. Another take for you guys. It's really late on Tuesday night. This is going to come out on Wednesday morning. So, college basketball, we're going to take a little break from it. We're going to be right back with it, doing a big podcast on it tomorrow. Make sure you check that out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. You can get it there. Got my guy Matt Murphy coming on. He's a Purdue fan, so we're going to grill him about FDU. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great show. But I want to talk about the NBA, specifically the Western Conference. Because between the 6 seed and the 12 seed, they're separated by a game and a half. We have roughly 10 games left. It's coming down to the finish. Like, what more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? And so let's start with Golden State. They currently hold the 6th seed. They snapped their 11-game losing streak the other night when they went on the road and beat the Rockets. Super tough opponent. No, just kidding. So that's big. They're 29-7 at home, 8-29 on the road, which is just doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's just kind of what they are. Look, as long as Steph is there, it's really hard for me to pick against them. Looking at their schedule as they look to close out the season, they're at home. Their next looks like at least four of their next five. Four of their next five, and then they go on the road to Denver, host the Thunder, go on the road to take on the Kings, and then on the road to take on the Trailblazers. Most of their games are home games. They probably aren't going to drop those. So because of that, plus with the lead that they already have, I would take them to grab the 6th spot and not have to play in the play-in game. Dallas is the 7th seed, half a game back. They actually play Golden State tomorrow night, I believe, so that game's going to be huge. Luka Doncic has missed their last 5 games with, a thigh issue. And look, if he doesn't play, it's really hard to take Dallas just to even make the playoffs, which is crazy, right? Like, they're going to make this trade for Kyrie Irving and potentially not even make the playoffs. I mean, that's insane. Like, they give up all these assets. Even though Dorian Finney-Smith hasn't been great and Spencer Dinwiddie's okay, they give up all this just to not even make the playoffs because Luka gets hurt. And, their schedule going forward, obviously, they have the Warriors, but they have the Hornets. They should beat them. They have the Pacers. They should beat them. They have the 76ers. That game will obviously be tough because they don't have anybody to defend Joel Embiid. Then they have to play the Heat. They're going to be tough. Atlanta, they're going to be tough. Sacramento, we know that that's a good basketball team. I think it's the first time in my life I've ever said that Sacramento's a good basketball team. The Bulls, that's a very winnable game. And then the Spurs, that's another game that they should win. So they've got, a few cupcakes in there, Charlotte, the Spurs, but there's also some really tough games in there. Look, if Luka doesn't come back, then I fully expect them to miss the playoffs. With that being said, if he does come back, I do think that they'll sneak into the playing game, and then they will be absolute hell for Denver or Memphis to take on in the first round, because I do think that they'll get out just because they have Luka. When you play in these playing games, obviously you're playing against other teams that aren't complete, and when you're playing against teams that are just as incomplete as yours and you have probably the 2 best scorers on the floor, you're probably going to win. So if Luka comes back, I like Dallas to grab that spot. If he doesn't, then I expect them to miss it. Minnesota is sitting in the 8th spot. And do they even need Karl Anthony-Towns at this point? I mean, if Anthony Edwards is going to keep playing like this, I know he got banged up the other night. Not too sure, actually, if he's back yet. I need to obviously check that because that will affect whether or not I like them to make it. But either way, like, when Anthony Edwards is available, he's so good. Like, when he went number 1, there was a lot of speculation as to whether or not he deserved to go number 1 overall. And I think he's answered the question is yes. I think he's been the best player in that draft class. He's set to potentially return on Wednesday, so they are going to have him here for the final stretch. But he's athletic. He can score. I mean, how do you not like this kid? How do you not like this kid? So if he comes back on Wednesday, I like them to grab one of the play-in spots. They've got the Hawks, the Warriors. That's going to be obviously a big game. The Kings, the Suns, the Lakers. That game's going to be really big. The Trailblazers, Nets, Spurs, and Pelicans. That'll be a huge game to end the year. That game against the Pelicans may actually decide who makes the play-in and who doesn't. So they've got some really big games coming down the stretch. But defensively, they've been good. They've got, a number one scoring option in Anthony Edwards. Really like him. And look, if he's playing, I'm going to take them to make it in. Next is Oklahoma City. And I don't know what to do with them. I don't. I really like this team. I feel like they want to lose, though, because they know that they aren't quite there yet. But at the same time, I feel like if they wanted to lose, SGA wouldn't be playing, and he is. So their games, coming down the wire here. They've got the Clippers twice. Those are tough. They're going on the road to take on the Lakers. That game's going to be big. That game's going to be tough. LeBron could potentially be back for that one. That game's going to be super tough. Trailblazers, that's a very winnable game. The Hornets, that's a winnable game. Pistons, that's a winnable game. Pacers, that's a winnable game. The Suns, that game will be tough. The Warriors, that's going to be really tough. That one's on the road. The Jazz, and then the Grizzlies. So several big games coming down the stretch for them as well. I love how all these teams seems like they're all playing each other. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take them to make it. I am Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's averaging 35 a game after the All-Star break. That's more than any other player in the NBA. They're scoring at a high level. They're defending. They're so much fun. This is a hard pick. That's what this is. This is me wanting the Thunder to make it because they're fun. They're young. They're just a collection of guys between the height of like 6'5" and 6'10" who can pass the basketball. And they move it and they can shoot it. They're tough. I mean, I really, really like this young Oklahoma City team. So I'm going to take them to make it. Utah is next, sitting in the 10th spot. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think they're going to make it. I don't even have to look at their schedule to tell you that they're not going to. They have to play the Trailblazers. That should be a win. They got to play the Bucks. They're not better than the Bucks. They got to play the Kings. They aren't better than the Kings. They got to play the Suns. They aren't better than the Suns. And then they get the Spurs. That should be a win. And then they play the Celtics. They aren't better than the Celtics. And then the Nets, they should win that one. The Lakers, they aren't better than the Lakers. The Thunder, they aren't better than the Thunder. The Nuggets, they aren't better than the Nuggets. And then the Lakers to close out the season. They play so many tough games. I mean, they have the Lakers twice. That team, they're starting to get things figured out. LeBron should be back for those games as well. The Nuggets, I mean, they're not winning that game. The Thunder are really tough. I mean, they've just got a brutal schedule coming down to end the season. And on top of that, like, look, Lauri Markkanen has been awesome this year, but they just don't have the talent that these other teams have. They aren't more talented than the Warriors. They aren't more talented than Dallas. They aren't more talented than Minnesota. They aren't more talented than Oklahoma City. They aren't more talented than the Lakers, and they aren't more talented than New Orleans. So, I mean, that's just, when you look at that, I mean, I don't know how you could pick this team with the schedule that they have, over these last 10 games or so. That combined with the fact that they really lack top-end talent. Like, they just aren't as talented as these other teams. I don't really know how you can pick them to make the play-in. I think they're probably going to finish right at, that 11 spot. We'll just kind of see where things go from there. Currently, they're holding the 10th spot, and we'll see where things go for them. I mean, could they do it? Yeah, but ultimately, with that schedule, I don't know how you can really pick them to make it. Moving on, the Lakers sitting in the 11th spot. LeBron James is hopefully coming back soon. Look, if LeBron comes back, they're going to make the play-in. And then there'll be hell for Denver or Memphis to take on in the first round. They can beat both of those teams, especially Memphis. So they've got the Suns. That game will be tough. That game's on Wednesday. And then they get the Thunder. That game will be tough. The Bulls, they should win that. The Bulls again, they should win both of those. The Timberwolves on the road, that game will be tough. The Rockets, that's a win. The Jazz, that should be a win. The Clippers, that game will be tough. And then they've got the Suns again. I don't think they're better than the Suns. And then they close it out with the Jazz. So they, too, have some games against some of these teams that are bunched up in the standings with them. They're really figuring things out. Anthony Davis has been on a tear as of here late. So if he continues to play at this level, even if LeBron doesn't come back, I don't see how they don't make at least the play-in. At least the play-in. And if they make the play-in, then LeBron James should hopefully be back in time to play in the playoffs. And even as a guy who's not a huge LeBron fan, I want to see him play in the playoffs. Heavy.com reported earlier today that LeBron's injury could potentially be season-ending. I really hope it's not. Because this Lakers team has finally figured it out. And look, I'm not saying that I would pick them to win the NBA Finals, but they could go on a run and make it really tough for Phoenix or for Memphis to even get out of the first round. So I really hope that, Heavy.com, I really hope that they're wrong and that their report is false. Brian Windhorst is apparently the one who reported it. I haven't seen anything on it outside of that one post, so we'll just kind of see where things go from there. And then finally, the last team here sitting in 12th is the New Orleans Pelicans, who were number one in the West a couple months ago, and they have just fallen off the face of the earth. Obviously, part of that is Zion's injury. He's hurt once again, which just sucks, because when he plays, he's really good, and the Pelicans are really good. They are. And I really hope that he's able to come back soon, because he's that guy. He is a legit star in this league, but he's re-aggravated the hamstring injury. There's really no update on when he could play. This article I'm reading here says that he would be available in the playoffs if they were to get in. So it doesn't look like they're going to have him for these final 10 games, and that's really kind of where they need him, because I don't know if they're going to make it without him. I mean, this team is, they're talented enough between CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram and all the other young guys that they have. They are more than good enough to make it. I just don't know if they will. When we look at their schedule, I don't think it's supposed to be too tough, just going off of memory of teams that I remember them playing so far from the season. Let's see here. So the Hornets, that game's on Thursday. That's a very winnable game. They got to play the Clippers. That game will be tough. The Trailblazers, that should be a win. They go on the road to Golden State. That game will be tough. On the road to take on Denver. That game will be tough. Clippers at home, that's winnable, but it'll be tough. Kings at home, winnable, but it'll be tough. Grizzlies at home. Knicks at home. On the road at Minnesota. So their schedule's tough. If they had Zion, I would probably pick them to get in, but they don't. And with a schedule like that, and you're missing your best player, I can't pick them. So here are my final predictions for the 6 through 10 seeds in the West, and then we'll get out of here. 6th seed is going to be Golden State. The 7th seed is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. The 8th seed will be Dallas. The 9th seed will be Minnesota. The 10th seed will be the Lakers. The 11th seed will be Utah. And the 12th seed will be the New Orleans Pelicans. That is my final prediction. We'll see what unfolds over these next 10 games. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, like, follow, comment. Do all those things. I love doing this, and I hope you guys are enjoying the video. So I will talk to y'all again tomorrow. Hoping to have another take for y'all. Hopefully some NFL free agency news breaks. I'm dying to talk some football. Either way, we're going to have something for you. All right? I don't care if I have to sit here and talk about ballet. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to talk about that. That would be terrible. But you catch the drift. I'm going to have something for y'all. So make sure you tune back in tomorrow. Can't wait to talk to y'all. Yeah, so once again, I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.